The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hello,
Hi!
everybody! Episode 129.
Hello.
Tokucast Reviews.
Yep.
Hello, people. Oh, boy.
I've been looking forward to this one for a while.
It's Saber time.
Saber.
We're going to do this in a good, bad, terror, bad. We're going to start off with the good because there ain't a lot of it. But actually, before we get to that, we got to talk about that opening. I hate it.
It grew on me.
I hate it so much.
It grew on you?
A little bit, yeah.
Like a mold?
As in, it got less annoying after a while, and I didn't hate it as much. It's still not a great song.
Like a benign tumor?
I'm trying to... I don't want to say yes, that's a pretty damn good description. But it's not bothering me.
I hated it. The guy sucked. The ending
Oh,
song
no.
better.
The song itself is fine, but it needed a different singer. It absolutely needed a different singer.
He was pitchy.
A little bit.
Not pitch perfect.
No.
This might be the worst opening song I've ever heard in Japanese toku. Like leaving Power Rangers out of it.
I still think Ghost wins that crown for me.
I think
Same.
the Ghost song is perfectly fine. I think this song is egregiously terrible. The singer, they should have gotten someone else because he's completely out of his vocal range.
Yeah.
No, they absolutely picked the wrong
He
singer.
didn't have to reach for that.
He does not, like, from the very first note,
Like,
you know you're in for something wrong because he can't even hit that first note right.
Saber in your head.
The way that first couple of bars goes, it's
Which
just
makes
like,
you wonder,
ugh.
who did he fuck, or who did he pay, or how bad were the other?
Or who did his company pay?
Or did they listen to it and go, yeah, this is really good?
Which makes you wonder how the rest of them sounded.
Oof. Yeah, this song is not great.
I swear, every time I went to skip this song, every single time without fail, I kept hitting that, I kept skipping forward to the final high note when he sings me and I at the end, and it's just so ear-piercingly wrong.
Yeah, it's
and I skipped to it every single time. I was so upset.
It depends on the singer.
Valid.
Yeah.
It's still not a good song, even if you do change singers.
I think it's a fine song.
I think
the singer is the worst. Is the thing really keeping it down?
I think it's what's the production. The production of the song really didn't do it for me, and the way that the cadence worked in it was sort of off.
That's fair.
It really did not hit my ear ever correctly.
Again, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying.
The good, the suits.
Depends on the suit.
What suit did you think not look good? I'm curious. Any come to mind?
You should have asked me the opposite.
Okay.
Because we're focusing on the good.
Okay. I think the majority of the suits look great.
I don't think any of them are
bad.
awful. I don't think any of them are like awful or bad per se, but very few of them really stuck out to me as good.
I think a personal favorite of mine was just Buster. I liked how big it was.
Oh no, Buster's great.
My favorite one was Saber's base form.
Yeah, Saber's base.
Saber's base form looks incredible.
It does.
I think it could have been better for me. I think it's just because of the fact that so many additions kept getting added onto it the further the show went along. I like Buster's. I like Buster's because it was just.
Well, that's the thing though. When I viewed it like watching O's again, but it's vertical changes instead of horizontal changes, so that all the different changes to the sections didn't bother me as much.
I think I liked it more when it was O's who did it.
Because it was a point. It was a literal point of the show is that you make a combo. They tried to do that, just not as. It was more implied.
You're talking about the books, the multiple books.
Because then you have to think about Buster didn't have a belt.
No,
there's different.
Everything
types
went to his sword.
Yeah, that's why he didn't get that.
But yeah, I really liked his suit. It looked like a really tanky Dark Knight.
I think in terms of the suits,
also
the only ones I didn't really like were honestly Blades and the Ninja Kid. But
that's a whole.
What's the name of the guy who is the sword? Yuri?
Yeah,
his like upgraded like colorful form.
Yeah, his comic book looking form.
That one looked terrible.
I liked it. Actually.
I thought it looked terrible.
I was really indifferent on that suit. I was actually a bigger fan of it with just black. Also, I really like Sabala's because it was really different.
Who is that?
Reika. We'll talk about
Who is that? Okay, her.
Oh, Mist. Or, yeah.
Smoke.
I liked her form.
Yeah, I liked her
Noob.
suit.
He understood.
Thank you. Thank you for making that.
He got
Mortal Kombat.
He got the joke.
Oh,
Deadly
noob.
Alliance
I just didn't hear what you said.
Thank you for making
That's because I was mumbling.
Yeah, I liked her suit.
Yeah, it's fine. It's alright.
Her brother's suit, too, but I had a...
Durandal.
I had a big issue is, why is Blade's water? And his is encyclopedia, and he has the trident, which is like is a weapon that is associated with water.
I think they got lost halfway through.
Yeah.
Because I feel like...
You don't say.
I feel like they could have done, like, just bring another Mortal Kombat comparison again. They could have done one water, one ice.
No, but ice was water's final form.
I know.
Well, then you could have had 2 ice, or maybe you could have had water and steam.
They already
had
Mist.
smoke.
Or water and gas.
Anyway.
One plasma. We could just get all the states of matter out of the way.
I thought Grimoire's form at the end wasn't that great.
Grimoire. Well, we're still in the good. So what else is good? Nothing. All
right.
Matt.
Matt, I know you have some things to say.
Was good.
It did have some
there
good
are flashes of good action in the show. I think there are, especially in the one of the when we're getting towards the end and there's that huge battle sequence where they're charging in and when everyone is morphed and they're all charging in and
get the one drone shot.
We get like that long one take of everyone going through the battlefield and just carving dudes up. We get some good camera angles. That scene is great. I think there was the fight between.
Oh, hold on, because
let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. The fight between Daijinshi and Toma, where we get a practical sword on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Where they actually have like an in-camera like flaming sword that didn't use CGI. I thought that scene was good. I thought that was a good fight.
Going back to the scene that you just mentioned,
go ahead.
With the big fight, they did like this one part in it where I think the sword was reflective, and they showed the other part of the fight happening, and then they flip to that. I thought that was so cool. Like everything about the show, the aesthetics are probably the only good part.
I disagree.
What else is good?
No, I think he just. I think.
I disagree that the aesthetics are good.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah. When they were good, they were good. Like when they actually put effort.
Oh
yeah.
I think all of the power-up forms for Saber specifically look good. His 3-book form, his Dragon Knight form, his final form was an interesting choice.
Choices. Which final form? He had 2. But unlike 01's...
The blue one or the...
Not the last episode final form.
About to say.
I'm not counting that bullshit.
Because unlike 01's, this one really didn't make sense.
Where he beat the bad guy with his base form like 01 did.
Well, no, he got like an upgraded version of his base. And I'm just like...
With a book that was this thick. That is another thing I will... But we're still on the good. I actually enjoyed some of the characters. Not all of them. Heavens, not all of them.
Just tell me which ones and tell me why.
I enjoyed the main character, Toma.
Why?
I just thought he didn't seem... He was a little preachy at times, but he didn't annoy me. He seemed to just really care, and I liked the story about the amnesia, and I just want to keep talking until Marcus actually keels over.
Keep talking. I want to make this review longer so we can get to other things.
Getting closer.
Let's do it.
But
tell me more.
Yeah, he was honest. I don't know why, but I kind of related to him, and I can't explain why. I really can't.
Well, good for you.
He was very shonen protagonist. I will say that.
Let's just combine the last 2. Of Bad and Terror Bad. I feel like
we do that a lot.
Yeah, it's fair. Let's just go ahead and just combine it.
Go.
Everything. This show, the characters.
In the words of one Thanos, everything.
This show was the worst I've seen in a long time.
Agree to disagree.
I hated it. I hated everybody. I hated everything. I hated every story beat. Like, you could have made Isaac a good character, but I think it's because we're seeing Ginza from Shinkenger again. So it's just like, he went crazy. I like Ginza.
The tertiary writer got the shaft, I will admit. He got shafted.
Everybody in this show got shafted.
Which one do you consider to be the tertiary writer?
Lightning Boy, yeah.
Everybody's...
Lightning Boy?
Yeah,
Espada. The one, Espada, who died...
Give me the character's name, because no one is ever called by their writer name in this show. Kenta, thank you.
He died and became Caliber for a while.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that, but... Okay, that's one thing I would like to bring up at the start. And this, I would lump this into bad. I would not lump this in Terabad.
It all is lumped for me.
Trying to remember anyone's... No one calls anyone by their writer name in this show. It's always, like, the character's name, which is fine. But when you're trying to look up something and you're trying to remember who a character was...
Only one
can be a little difficult.
Only one character called everybody by their writer name, and then she was kidnapped by, like, episode 12.
And then she was gone from the show for most of it.
Yeah. And she came back and just decided to be Caliber.
Yeah, but let's be real. Caliber went around like fucking Fize's belt. It did not care who wore it.
I cared about nobody in this show. I mean, nobody. It was either I am really just ambivalent towards you, or I hated you when you were May. Because
I still don't think...
I hated her so much.
So
don't think she was worse than Akiko.
I do think she was. She was pointless.
do not.
I think she was exceptionally worse.
How?
Because the performance and direction and writing in this show are so confused. I think Akiko, well, as annoying as she can be, she is consistent, and she is consistent with what that show is going for. And she remains that character throughout, but there are moments where I feel she is improving. This show has absolutely no freaking idea what it wants to be.
And that's mostly because of
this show's
multiple writers.
This show's... Okay, I'm going to read a series of texts. Last Saturday, I was sick. I just wanted to be done. So last Saturday, after the two of us finished recording, I went home and I was like, I'm just going to watch the rest of this today. I'm just going to binge the rest of it today.
To be done.
I just want to be done. And I think I was on episode 30, maybe 25, and I had a lot to go. So I watched that whole thing in a single day. One of the texts I sent to Marcus was, an episode ended with two random characters just running around in the woods. I'm watching this show, and I still have no idea what the hell's going on. To which Marcus responded, sounds about completely accurate, and I responded, I'm upset! I just started episode 40. I'm so done with this garbage. I don't want to watch the other episodes, but I'm going to. Why did the filmmakers keep making stupid choices? And then Marcus replies, not much longer left. Then the pain will be over. To which I responded, I'm in my apartment and I still want to go home.
That was my exact inflection.
And then I responded a little bit later, ugh, this show is making me go stupid. And then Marcus responds, the IQ will return still and soon. I say, I was trying to remember what I had for lunch a few minutes ago. All I could think was, oh right, I ate food. This show made me question my sanity with the stupidity that was on display from its characters and from the talent, if you want to use that term, from behind the camera as well.
Loosely.
This is one of the most confused shows I've ever seen. And I would kill to be a fly on the wall during some of the writing sessions. Because characters' personalities will change on a dime depending on where they think the story should go at that particular moment. There is like after like the first arc is completed, when, you know, after Kenta has died and after they kill that dude, whatever his freaking name was, they kill him, and Reika, I just called her girl throughout the entire show. Like, I couldn't remember her name. I don't ever remember anyone saying her name, but that's beside the point. She like walks up to, I think it's Kamen Rider Dad and Daijinshi. She walks up to them and is like,
Kamen Rider Dad is great,
and is like, you know, Toma is going to betray you. And they're like, what are you, nuts? He'd never do that. Oh, but he will.
And it's like,
well, you do make a compelling argument. And then we cut to the next scene, and all the other heroes are standing in a row with their hands on their hips, and they're like, Toma, we demand you hand over your books and your sword.
You're too powerful.
You're too powerful, and you want power. You need to hand over those things now.
We don't want to go through this
again.
You're
done being Kamen Rider.
This could happen again.
And I wanted to rip my tablet in half. It is some of the dumbest, laziest, just some of the stupidest writing I've ever seen.
I love when he gets angry.
Every single episode feels like it was written by the Office Goldfish.
To be fair, the Office Goldfish is probably there more often than the actual main writer.
Exactly. Show. You told me that the main writer was there for, what?
13, 14 episodes?
13 or 14 episodes. And then it feels like the rest of the notes were passed between the goldfish and turtle who shared the office terrarium. Like,
turtle.
What is going on here exactly? We don't know what we want to do with these characters. We don't know who these characters are. We don't know what they want. Who are they? It was so frustrating. Like, I think about something like Kamen Rider Build, a show I didn't like, but throughout the show, I could see what the intent was. We want to make an epic science fiction story with you know, multiple countries using Kamen Riders and proxy wars and inventing new forms, you know, using the main character's mind and like ancient powers he finds. We have something like X-Aid, which I was also lukewarm on, but again, I can see the intent through it.
You loved it.
No, I didn't.
X-Aid?
I meant 01.
Oh.
Damn it.
Like, you loved it.
Shut up! I know what I meant. That's the important thing.
Is it?
Yes! Anywho, 01, one that I was lukewarm on, but again, I could see the intention throughout. Something like Ghost, for as many problems as I have with Ghost, again, I feel like I get what they were going for. I don't think it had a good script. I think it had some good acting, and at the end of the day, Ghost is a show that left me very disappointed more than angry. Build is a show that left me with a mix of the two. Saber, I feel like every second that passed, it felt like they were just trying to piss me off. I felt like every decision that was made was like, how can we top this? What can we do next that's even dumber? Why don't we do this instead? What if they betrayed him for no reason? What if that went on for 48 episodes? What if we brought this character back for no reason? What if this character left the show for several episodes and no one ever seemed to care? I hated this show. If that wasn't obvious already.
A lot of the things in this show definitely do feel like they happened on a dime and with no real reasoning as to why they happened on a dime.
Yes.
So I definitely want to talk about Reika and her first appearance and like what she does in that immediate arc that happens right after that, where she's like, Toma's going to betray you, and everybody's like, well, maybe you have a point.
Okay, I can't. One, she doesn't just say that.
Yes, she does.
No, she gives a reason.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does. Can I fucking talk?
No.
Go ahead.
I will walk out that fucking door. Anyway, she said, if he's not, then why is he trying to continue what Caliber was doing? Because Caliber gave him some bullshit line about there's corruption, because there was, And she knew that she tried earlier to pretty much recruit Toma and know that she couldn't own him or buy him like they owned the rest of them. He could not be manipulated like the rest of them could. So she
manipulated everybody else.
She manipulated everybody else by saying, if he's not going to betray us, why is he working towards the same goal as Caliber was after he defeated Caliber?
I'll give her this. She never lied.
She never lied. And to your point that you gave a while ago that the two other writers were like, we're best friends now and this happened, they are indoctrinated into a cult, especially Blades.
Oh yeah, we know Blades was like that.
So he was to be told that the people he raised him do not trust Toma. He doesn't know what to do but believe them because he is indoctrinated and brainwashed. That is what I got when I watched that scene. Because one, that is a valid point. You spent how many episodes fighting this guy because he's bad, and then the moment he's done, your main character decides, I'm going to continue what he was doing. That's sus. Sorry, suspicious.
Among Us.
Well, anyway. So...
Hold on. I'm going to go back on that part. The problem with that was presentation.
No, absolutely.
Because... it happens right after they had, we're all best friends now.
It is like the same.
The pacing.
It is the episode after.
No, the pacing, I will admit, was absolutely awful.
The editing and pacing in this show are some of the worst I've ever seen.
I want to focus on Reika just a little bit, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because, weirdly enough, I remember the most about her because I hated the most that happened to her. She had a lot of promise when she first came in. A little bit manipulative, strong.
Chose her words very carefully.
An independent woman who did not need no man.
Then she needed a man.
And that man turned out to be her brother. They did her character such
dirty
a disservice.
Yeah.
I was explicitly the most... like, I hated everything about this show, but I think I hated what happened to her the most. Because I'm sitting here like, you had the option to be, just a strong woman who didn't need no man. And next thing you know, she needs a man. And I'm just like, why? Also, the thing I really never remember about her...
because it's the writer of Ghost, someone needs a sibling conflict.
But he wasn't there the adult time.
Exactly, he wasn't there.
I bet you money he wrote that part.
More than likely. Also...
we'll never know.
The only thing I really remember about her was actually her actress outside of the show. Because she liked Majine. Which is why in that crossover episode, her and Majine spent the most time together. Because she was just a really big fan of her.
If I can go back to a previous point, since I didn't get a chance for my rebuttal during your entire monologue. The editor, the friend. I think she's not as bad as Akiko because she was actually supportive. Yes. As in, she wasn't actively antagonizing the main character.
Oh, I'm not saying she wasn't supportive. I'm just saying she was not supportive.
I meant to say supportive. Which is what my biggest issue with Akiko is, why are you hanging around this... The I hate Kamen Riders bullshit was so grating to me. And to see this character who looked like to be another Akiko, then be like, no, you gotta do what you gotta do, but please don't give me your manuscript.
To be fair, they gave her a reason why Akiko. They gave her a reason why the whole Kamen Rider thing.
Oh no, and I still thought it was stupid.
So she was worried. She didn't want that to happen to anybody else. So I get that.
No, it didn't seem like she was worried. It seemed like she was a fucking crying toddler who sees another toy being taken away from her.
I never got that.
Anyway.
But when it came to May in show proper, she was pointless.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that...
they had to give her a point. They gave her the book that tells her
there is a moment in this show where there's a monster attacking some people, and they're like, all right, let's go fight the monster. And May is like, I'm going to come too. They're in like the Logos base when this happens. And May is like, I'm going to come. And they're like, no, stay here. And she's like, no, I want to come. And she's like, and I'm like, and do what? Stand at the sidelines and shout advice. You're useless in combat.
I feel like there was an episode, because please forgive me, I watched this months ago, that they tried to imply that she was important in some way, and then it went nowhere.
Speaking of people who should have been important but weren't, let's talk about Luna.
I don't have any recollection of the scene you're talking about.
No, I just feel like I vaguely remember the...
I feel like maybe the thing with the book and her knowing that something is going on.
For some reason.
She does get, like, taken over by a monster, and that's, like, a big emotional moment for Toma. That's, like, an emotional couple of episodes.
Like, because he has to figure out how to separate them from the monster without killing them.
Yes, and to the show's credit, I think some of the acting in that episode is really good, but again, it's so inconsistent. Again, it's so inconsistent.
Can I say who the most annoying character is? And I do mean the most annoying.
Go ahead.
The green-haired narrator. Go for it. Go.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I forgot about him until the moment. I forgot about Tassel until the moment you brought him up. I'm dead serious.
He served no purpose.
He served no purpose. Yeah, sure. They tried to give him something like at the very end of the show, but literally you could sum it up with him going, "Yeah, so this is a thing. Bye." And then he's gone.
The weirdest thing is, like, they had
the election. No, I'm not done.
I
don't care. I'm not done.
I'm talking now.
Jacob, let him talk. He has not had a lot.
I feel like the weirdest thing about him was the fact that he was separate from the show,
and then wasn't.
And then Yuri met him because they knew each other from the past, and then he was separate from the show again, and then the whole thing with Luna came up. We're gonna talk about her.
I know.
Let him. Okay, but
I know.
He was unlike the narrator from Kamen Ranger. When he disappeared, I didn't give a damn. I missed the narrator from Kamen Ranger. He was great, but Tassel was pointless and really annoying. It felt like because of the fact that he came in at the beginning and at the end of each episode, pretty much. It felt like he kept breaking tension.
Yeah.
He didn't help anything. I think he actually made the show worse, and that's hard to do.
He did.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have a lot of thoughts.
We know.
I've been stressed. I had a lot I wanted to say. Tassel. I may have said this in our first impressions, but I think I get what they were going for with him, at least at first.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have, because I've seen this before, and whether it's in Barnes & Noble or the library, bookstores, whatever, they'll have someone who works at the store or a local actor come in, dress up as a character, and read stories to kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were going for with Tassel. He's the storyteller. He's the one who is, telling the tale of Kamen Rider Saber. And I think that's what they were going for.
But then they try to get him involved in the plot.
That's a problem, but it's not my biggest problem. My problem is it's a terrible performance. Mm-hmm. It is a terrible performance, and I don't entirely want to blame the actor. I don't entirely want to blame the actor. I want to blame it more on the direction, because there are so many introductions with him where he'll kind of start to do a bit with a certain delivery, and then halfway through he'll just sort of trail off and stop. He'll say bonne lecture in kind of a sing-songy way, but at the end of lecture he'll just his voice will crack, and he'll trail off and just continue. No, that's if that happens, say cut, do another take, get the best performance out of your actor. It's such it just reeks of misdirection and mismanagement.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, he was.
Because I absolutely agree with you on the character telling the children a story, which is one of the reasons why I guess when I was watching the show, my expectations were so much lower. Because in my mind, because of that, this show was probably written and intended for a younger audience. So I took everything
coming off of 0-1, which is a little bit more highbrow.
Exactly. So I was kind of taking everything with that in mind, that this is really for a younger audience, especially because it's fairy tale based, or it was supposed to be fairy tale based.
That's something else I want to get to.
Well, it was supposed to be fairy tale based, so Ghost was supposed to be historical figure based.
That failed.
That also failed.
That failed miserably. That failed miserably, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between.
I never thought about that comparison, but I feel it is apt.
Yeah, because you absolutely see that this is the same main writer for Ghost. Absolutely see it.
I really only had two other points I really want to talk about, but I want to do one of them now.
Okay.
Our Green Ninja Boy.
Oh my god, fuck him.
Kenzan.
disappears for so much of the plot.
He does.
And also, because they're kind of tied together, that monster that hung out with him at the end, who was for
Disaster.
what? Was for what exactly?
We want you to be stronger, but it's like you didn't do.
Even I liked this show. That was fucking stupid.
They didn't. One, he was exceedingly annoying. Two, they really didn't do
the Ninja Kid or the monster.
Yes,
thank you.
They really didn't do like you said
because
he was gone for so long. They didn't do anything with him
except have him be on Lightning Boy's dick.
So it's like
he was obsessed with that guy.
It's like anything that was done with him did not feel deserved. That's my thing.
Especially at the end.
Nothing
about everybody
he did felt deserved.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. There were too many cooks in the kitchen. There were too many writers in this show.
I don't think there were too many writers.
I do because half of them got sidelined.
We have seen shows with more writers than this do just fine. I don't think the number of writers is the source of the issue. The source of the issue is that the main writer was not there. Or is that what you're saying with a T, not with a D?
No. I'm saying the writer, and here's why I say that. Because I think you're going to make the Gaim or the Ryuki comparison.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of writers in both of those shows. But
they're not in the whole show.
They're not in the whole show. People start getting killed off. New writers get introduced. Other people get killed off.
No.
In this case,
I'm not disagreeing. They could absolutely have done that with this. If they could have killed the Ninja Boy off, they tried.
No one would have been sad.
No one would have been sad. They tried to kill off Lightning Boy, but no one. They didn't because stupid.
I think the problem
I had a stroke.
I think the problem is not the amount of characters. We have seen countless examples of whether it's in Toku or Western media or anime, whatever, video games that have scores of characters in them, and they're great because they have good scripts, they have good performances, they have good direction. This is a show that reeks of mismanagement to me. It feels like it had too many writers with a T, that were just tagging out with each other. And,
all right, my 5 minutes are up.
And my 5 minutes are up.
I did my 3 pages.
Like I did an episode. Okay, your turn, Jiro. You get in there. You write this thing, and it seems like the only.
I have an apt comparison.
Go ahead.
It is a game of script writing telephone.
Yeah,
that's very accurate.
And it seems like the only sentence that anyone is able to clearly say was, "There's a monster."
Yes,
because every episode of this show
or quack.
Yeah, that's a thing that happens. Quack. If you want to put that clip in the review, go ahead.
I love memes.
Well, now that you said memes, I can't help but think of that scene of him running up a light bridge.
Oh, when Luna's at the top of the light bridge and Toma's running up bad CGI.
It's not so much bad CG as it is bad compositing.
Yeah.
It looks like they just, in like 2 minutes on After Effects, just had him like run up a ramp on a green screen and just kind of plonked it in there. But the angle that he's running up is completely wrong.
So let me give you an example. So here is the light bridge. It's going a little bit this way.
Maybe faces so the camera can see.
Profile.
You get the point. So the bridge is going this way. Mm-hmm. And Toma's running up this way.
He's kind of like, it's like, if it's up here, he's kind of running like off to the side.
Anyway.
She's there, so we're gonna talk about her. Luna.
Yeah, Luna.
They cut to that freaking scene of her getting yanked into that black hole in the sky so many times,
and
and by the end of the show, I still had no idea what her freaking point was.
She was pointless.
What was her character?
I'm trying to remember. She was what was the Avatar? What was the other world called?
Trash is what it was called.
Sure. She was what was keeping that world together.
Earth 69.
I think.
Yeah, more or less.
So if they got rid of her, they got rid of that world.
But it's just like, you put so much emphasis on this character, and then she comes back for like an episode or two and then dies again. So...
And Toma goes with her?
And then what was the point? They did nothing
with her.
With that. You put so much emphasis on a character. And
there were so many opportunities. That's the thing I think what drew me in was that there was we say this a lot. I say this a lot. I absolutely say this a lot. This show had so much potential. This could have, and we say that a lot. We say that about everything, I know. But with the amnesia plotline, the fact that he knew one of the writers as a kid, and the fact that this girl was sucked into a portal during a fight with Lightning Guy's dad, and the main character inherited this flame sword from the guy who he met that day.
And then forgot
because amnesia. There was so much you could do there. That was a smorgasbord of possibilities. And they did nothing. You want to say something, don't you?
I do.
Go for it.
If there's one plot device, writing trope, whatever you want to call it, that I'm absolutely freaking sick to death of.
Amnesia?
No.
Fate?
It's,
Portals in the sky.
Oh, those are never going away.
Thanks, Avengers.
May as well. Those are sky beams, to be more specific. But, you know how I hate it in Garo Vanishing Line, and I really hate it here? It's needless time skips. Needless time skips.
Because time skip happens at the beginning of the show.
No, I'm talking because at the end of the show.
You mean the year jump?
I'm talking about needless time skips that happen. Okay, so the show ends, he's like in the other world, and it cuts to like 1 year later. A title card comes up 1 year later, and everyone is like moved on with their lives, and May is giving a slideshow presentation
about him,
and there's like a slideshow of like actor headshots of him, of like all these pictures of him, and everyone's talking about the legacy of Toma and how, what a contribution he made, and we see all the characters living their lives, and then he just comes back.
And then, hold on.
He just comes back.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
If you look in the audience, there's a Humagear there.
There's like a Mark I Humagear in the audience.
But I don't care, because what I do care about is the fact that he just comes back, and then everyone's just palling around and happy. Why even do the time skip if you're not going to change anything? I hate it so much.
I weirdly enough think that there is a strange comparison you can make to Gaim in this, where at the end of it, Kota becomes basically the new Adam.
Yeah.
But there, it really felt deserved because so much had to happen to get to that point. And Saber, nothing.
I don't know that that's an equivocal comparison.
Hold on, because not that. In Saber, it doesn't feel like it was worth it, or rather, nothing was built up enough for Toma to become sort of like this Jesus figure.
This show, towards the end, gets downright apocalyptic.
It does.
In terms of scope, scale, what is happening, what is at stake, and it feels like it gets there so fast because we have so many episodes of just random monsters showing up and just causing general mayhem. And the heroes, this is another thing that just really bugged me, was the fact that the heroes fighting amongst themselves takes so long. Yeah. That period of the story just, it goes on for freaking ever. The amount of time it takes for whatever the blue Kamen Rider, what was his name? Blades. What's the character's name? Rintaro. The amount of time it takes for Rintaro to come around again, it just takes too long. Now, Matt, your point about the cult, about them all essentially being indoctrinated, I think that is a good point, but that's just not what I got from this.
I get that.
The way I described it is exactly how I got it, and it's like, well, I guess we still gotta fight for Logos in this base, and I'm just like, guys, they never turn the lights on. They're obviously evil, and
sorry, that's fucking funny.
Their electricity bills.
Low. and then like the head of Logos, he becomes a villain for a while.
I'll admit that was dumb.
Okay, the first time we see him, I'm like, wait a minute, that's him? That's the evil guy? It's like when they show the Fire Lord in the live action Airbender movie. It's like when you see the Fire Lord in that movie and it's just like dude walking in hallway. And in this movie, like supposedly the mastermind who manipulated Reika, who's been instigating all this against Toma, who has been supposedly behind everything from the beginning, he's just dude sitting in room.
Went out like a
And he looks like a doofus. It's not a good performance.
No.
He's way too goofy to be taken seriously. And then we also have those other villains. We have like those three. We have like Johnny No Sleeves and the other guys who just
and the guy
who again
like, I'm not going to cut these 7 strands of hair ever. Who again like hang out in a room with no lights, so you know they're evil. And all I could think about during like a scene thing just.
With a chandelier.
The chandelier, and all I could think about was like, how does that Kamen Rider not bang his shins on coffee tables? Because there's no lighting in this room. How can anyone see?
And those are real small slits in that mask.
And you have like the thing with like the writing, like the automaton hands writing, which
cool.
it looks cool, and I thought they might have been going somewhere with it, but they don't. It gets abandoned with no explanation.
They dropped the hell out of that.
They did.
That was hot potato.
No.
They do that
Fresh
a lot.
from the oven.
Fresh from the oven.
They do that a lot in this show.
Storius. Fuck him. He was the main bad guy.
The final villain.
He was so uninteresting.
Yeah.
I can say that about all the villains.
Very fair. I think really...
I used to be a poet, okay? That's it.
And...
That's what he said.
I must have missed that line.
Where else are you going with this?
He literally, like, before he became
there
evil...
There once was a man from Nantucket.
Before he became evil, he was a poet.
But before they hung him from the gallows.
And you know why they did nothing with it? Because they only put it in there so that he could also be a writer like Toma.
They needed the parallel.
This show has some of the worst power scaling I've ever seen.
No shit.
Yeah.
So it's like 1 book, two book, red book, blue book, and it just keeps going and going. Toma gets that like draconic knight form,
and then never uses it.
And then he just doesn't use it, despite the fact that it's admittedly a pretty cool scene. I forget what's the name of the first Dark Kamen Rider they fight?
Caliber.
Okay, so he's fighting Caliber. He gets that form, the draconic knight form. Caliber is like slashing at him and punching at him, and he's just not reacting. Like, I am unfazed by any of these attacks. And then he just proceeds to mop the floor with him. Why in the next, 5 episodes does he not use this form? And this is another trope that Kamen Rider has used for the past couple of seasons, and they need to do it better because I'm getting sick of it. Let's give him a form that makes him go crazy but really strong.
Oh, you don't like that? I was about to bring that up.
It hasn't been done well. I don't think... I think... 0-1 was the closest to doing it good, but even then it was a little rocky for me. It's a trope that I'm sick of because they keep screwing it up, and then it's just like the same thing every time. It's like, oh no, he's too strong, but he also is crazy.
At least I'll give Revice this.
I need a different trade-off other than he's crazy.
At least this is because it's happening this week, because that's happening with the Jack form. They're doing the Berserk form again. But it's externally influenced this time. And there's been a legitimate build-up to doing that.
Who's going nuts in Revice?
Vice.
I thought they already did that.
No.
They're doing it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, this time it was just him actually going berserk mode because of
because of the right. Yeah. No, yeah, it's not because I got this super powerful form that I can't control. It's somebody going, "You're a demon. Fuck shit up."
There was a legit build-up.
Yeah, there's actual build-up.
Do that here. Like you said, 0-1 did it better because at least there was an external influence doing that, and you sort of already saw it.
We also, another thing 0-1 did better is we saw the internal struggle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to Aruto in that red hellscape trying to fight against Metal Cluster so he can control it. And then in this, it's just like, rawr, slash things go burr.
Well, they do smash things go burr, but they do kind of explain that it's not Toma when he uses that form. It's the kid that
is the dragon,
who is the dragon and has abandonment issues. So you kind of see Toma working through it.
I think the issue is,
but no, I understand
also,
what you're saying.
I hated that introduction because I hated that kid,
who then disappeared for the rest of the show.
I think the biggest issue, like you said, like I just said, is the fact that we saw it happening in others first, and this just happens.
because it's just like, I need to steal this power, and Toma's like, nope, it's mine now. Roar! Anyway.
I mean, it's accurate.
It was cool. It was a cool fight, though. Also, the form he gets from taming that dragon looks stupid.
Oh, yeah, with the open faces on the side. I want to say our favorite quote.
Go first.
I hate this.
Well,
I didn't hate this.
I have more I would like to say.
Okay.
I definitely do. So, and I would like to get into the actual story this time around. So, what is our Kamen Rider's catchphrase this time around?
It's my story and I win it now.
It's like it's my story and I write the ending or something like that.
I will decide how this story ends.
Yeah. He does.
So, why this? Getting back to what Matt brought up about potential, the idea of this could have been a great Kamen Rider fantasy epic.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have just the idea of we are going to it disappoints me in the same way that Ghost did. We have these stories that have been passed on through generations, whether it's Jack and the Beanstalk, whether it's
Journey to the West,
Aladdin, Journey to the West, the story of King Arthur.
Ooh,
Excalibur. We'll get to that in a second.
So on and so forth, and the concept of because we have the Sword of Logos. It's this. I love the idea of an ancient secret society that is hidden in the shadows and dedicated to protecting the stories of the world, and ensuring they get passed on through generations. And the fact that it just gets abandoned almost immediately, because I will bring up something that I like. I like the idea of Kamen Rider Sentai.
This one.
Which is what the first 15 or so episodes are. Yeah. And I think that's not a bad idea, but it's they abandon every time someone gets an idea. It's they tag out with another writer. It's my turn now. Now there's a monster. And that's the most we ever seem to get as far as week to week episodes is there's something and they have to fight it. And the bigger ideas that this show could have gone with, whether that's stories of friendship and the actual stories themselves and the importance of them and the importance of I will decide how this story ends, the importance of choosing where your own story can go, how you can write your own story, and how something they could have used with Toma and Rintaro, and how it's no, you don't have to be bound to this one ideal. You can write your own story. That's something they could have done, and they don't. And it comes back to what I said, where it reeks of mismanagement, poor direction,
and mediocrity.
And I think
that's the result.
I think it's worse than that.
It's weird because, like you just said, I feel like they sort of skimmed the surface of something sort of deep, and then when they got about an inch down, they said, "Nope, new writer, come back in," and we just stayed on the surface.
Yeah, there was a lot of. Yeah, I think the multiple writers and the mismanagement.
I just thought we had to emphasize.
Yeah, and the mismanagement really
Language
is
important.
What killed this show.
Yeah,
is really what killed this show.
I'm just
no fault to the actors because they worked with what they were given. What they were given was shit.
I feel the same way. I'm going to say the same thing about this as I said about Ghost. I think there are moments where the episode or episodes however long it lasted, where May gets consumed by that monster, and the way hosts are using the show, there is some genuinely really good acting from her part.
Under the surface, there is something good.
Even not under. This is not under the surface. This is on the surface, in the scene where we see her face and she's really sweaty and she's crying. And you really get the sense of hopelessness, and the actress is really bringing it. But then they will cut to he saves her, and instead of being this great emotional moment where they are able to build off of that, it's back to silliness. I texted you this, Matt. I think I texted Marcus this too. I said, why are there so many sound effects?
Oh, yeah.
Because there are scenes where instead of like relying on our script and our actors to get comedic timing, it's like they realized it wasn't working in post, so they just raided like the Looney Tunes sound library, and like a character is looking around and it's like
I noticed,
and it happens too much.
I noticed that the most when what's our sound boy, Tetsuo Daishinji, when he comes back, like after the episode where he's back on Toma's side, they did this whole thing where Yuri's doing stuff and they're doing that sound effect. I'm just like, I feel like you don't know how to do a lot of emotion in the things that are happening.
What did y'all think about him, by the way? Slash.
Daishinji.
Yeah, and his like weird personality change when he goes to gun form.
Really enough, almost the same that I felt about the girl from Trigger. The pilot.
That I know who you're talking about, because I think there's a character in Ultraman Trigger who is normally very stoic. Like on the surface, she's just very, and then once she gets behind the wings of when she puts those VR glasses on and starts remote piloting their attack ship, she is just screaming and like flailing around and and that's who she is.
Oh, that's accurate.
And that's pretty much what they do with Jai Shinji as well. And I wasn't really a fan of it in Trigger, and I'm not really a fan of it here. I get what they're going for. I mean, everyone has multiple sides to their personality. I get it. Everyone does. But it comes down to execution.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
I feel like they took...
It was just weird because he became one of my favorite characters by the end of the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that?
Because he was the only one to really somehow take everything that was happening the most seriously.
Okay.
Like when he was having that moment when he was like being told Toma's bad, Toma's gonna betray us, he was like, I'm gonna go talk to Toma. No one else was like, I'm gonna talk to Toma and see what the fuck he says. He at least went like, I'm gonna go talk to Toma and we'll talk through our swords if need be. Yes, it's a trope. It's a fucking trope.
It's very much a trope.
I don't care. But he put in the fucking effort to hear both sides of the story.
Speaking of that, because I sort of ended up tying into that, Buster's whole thing, I am dad, and that's about it.
I will say his costume looked real comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's jeans and a polo. Of course he's going to be comfortable.
That jacket. I did like that jacket.
That was a great jacket.
I really like the idea of like a Kamen Rider that's a single dad. I would love to see that as a whole show.
But, oh god.
Oh yeah, same. That's when he gets he has a manga.
That is something I would love.
Hold on. Buster has his own manga?
Yeah, Buster has his own manga from like 10 years in the past.
Dope! Wait a minute, that means the kid's not born yet, probably.
No, but the life is there. Go ahead.
Whatever happened to her?
No, she was still around. She just traveled a lot, I think. I think at the end of the show, we see her.
Do we?
I don't remember.
I think we see her.
I don't remember.
I think she worked abroad or something.
I wanna loop back around to the good for a moment.
Please.
And I wanna throw the mic to you, Matt.
Okay.
So for a while now, off camera, and I think you may have said it on camera, forgive me if I'm misremembering, but you've said that you've enjoyed the show on a similar level to Kyoryuger, and I would like you to elaborate on why.
Because I was really just I wasn't thinking about everything that happened 10 episodes ago. I was taking every moment as it came. And every moment, unfortunately, unlike you, I kind of like the sound effects bit. Because when you're in the mindset that I am, that this is for younger audiences, you get it. Kids like funny noises. And kids like silly things. I mean, and as someone who just spent 2 days last week looking after a 3-year-old, kids like weird shit.
I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, though.
I'm not saying that, but I can understand from a writing perspective why they would do that. What?
No, it's just like, you say that, and I'm weirdly enough getting, this is the Z-Ranger between the Jetman and the Die Ranger.
Yeah.
This is the Z-Ranger in between the two.
But I was having fun with the action. I was having fun with the forms and the abilities. And if you like shonen, like mindless shonen, like Bleach.
That's the comparison I've heard you make off camera.
Like Bleach.
Elaborate, please.
Because Bleach doesn't have a plot, really.
It has a suggestion.
It has this thing's happening, Ichigo's gotta fight it. And I didn't give a shit about the plot of Bleach. I enjoyed the flashing, the lights flashing and the cool forms and the swords. God, I'm a whore for some swords, I will admit.
Oh, right, you were not here for our weapons talk last week.
I was so pissed when I saw that video. So pissed that I was not there for that. Anyway, it just, everything about this show was pandering to things that I liked. Like fire, swords, knights, and all that shit. But I will admit, this show's got its plethora, abundant ocean of problems. Like Kyoryuger did. But I got past those things because I was having fun. And it's hard to quantify fun. You know what I mean?
Well, it's all subjective. It's all your personal preference.
In my personal, like, I wasn't like going, oh my god, I'm so invested in what these characters are feeling. I didn't give a shit what they were feeling. And I do admit, I liked the girl, and then she became a brother complex. And I'm like, I see ghosts all over this.
You see my complete utter dissatisfaction.
Oh, no, absolutely. I was right there with you.
I love a strong woman, and the fact they took that away from me, I was like, how dare they?
That was awful. But just by the end of the show, I was still kind of upset it was over. Not because I'm going to miss these characters. I'm going to miss a Kamen Rider that looks that good and is that fun for me. But you're absolutely right. The fact that Toma just shows up out of nowhere, oh my god. Like, what the
That
fuck?
whole amnesia thing is just...
I hated it as much as I hated it in Vanishing Line.
I hated it. I just hated this show.
It was just... I just thought it was fun.
I usually...
we didn't talk about the final form at all, really. We just said there were choices. The space...
I think my biggest issue was, unlike 0-1, where it was simple, and, but it had accoutrement to it.
Mm-hmm.
This one...
0-2?
Yeah, 0-1 to 0-2. Mm-hmm. This, it was just a recolor.
With a different sword.
Yeah.
Which, I do like how it's not that his sword turns into that sword. He literally has to bring that sword out and henshin with it. I kind of like that, and I like the...
Well, yeah, because 0-2 had pretty much his own belt.
Yeah, so I liked how they're doing that with it. But yeah, the fact that it's a recoloring is...
It misses the oomph.
It misses the oomph, I will say that.
0-2 had a lot of simplicity.
0-2 was felt like an upgraded form of 0-1.
The Dragon Knight form should have been its final form, in my opinion, or something like that.
Something where it was very different. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it felt like a legitimate upgrade. Like, you could see how we got from point A to point B. This one, it just looked like they galaxied the suit.
The galaxy spray painted.
The galaxy spray painted the suit, and that's how we got
the white.
And really not, they still didn't... I think I'm having a much bigger problem with main forms not doing anything upon their initial showcase. Mm-hmm. It just destroyed a couple of mechs, and the bad guy still got away. When 0-2 came out, he killed Ark. So just like, and now what? Sometimes I can turn my brain off and just enjoy something. Although, usually my brain will come back on.
But you can say that about anything.
I know. But, like, usually my brain will come back on eventually. Because they did that with Zenkaiger, and I was like, I know there were faults, but everything else was just done so well. Here, it doesn't really fall back on outside of aesthetics. And, like, you'll see that every time, so your eyes will start getting used to it, and like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Like most of the show. So, I just had so many issues and problems and frustrations.
I think that's the other thing.
Saber.
The issues that, as I saw the issues, I wasn't frustrated about them. I didn't go, well, that's stupid. That makes no sense. I just went, oh well. Pretty lights. I can't. Very, very rarely I can do that.
The flaws of the show, I felt were too egregious for me to look past. And even when, for the moments where I felt I was, they were either too fleeting, or when I actually was able to, if I tried to look past them, I just saw more things that I just didn't like. Because aesthetically, I just didn't think the show was that pretty to look at. I didn't think most of the fights were that good. I think some of the forms look nice.
You notice things that I don't notice a lot when watching stuff, though.
It's just how my brain works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that you notice camera angles and composites and all this technical stuff that goes behind making these scenes, and I don't. So I'm not noticing the weird cuts. Though I will admit, when the first episode came out and I was trying to rewatch the fight scene, there was a YouTube video that cut it the wrong, like had it edited and had it cut the wrong way, and I thought that was how the fight was.
You know what this show needs? A Bible. I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm talking about like an actual...
I know what you mean, like a script Bible.
Like a script Bible.
Like we have our outline, we have like our notes, and like this is the plan, like a plan. We have to follow this.
They didn't have that for this, I don't feel like.
I think we've established that.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens whenever you have more than one writer.
I don't think so.
No, I don't either.
It doesn't. If your writers are communicating and they're on the same page.
No, if your main writer is communicating.
No, even if the other ones, if you have a Bible, if you have notes for them to follow, and everyone is on the same page, and you have producers coming in and saying like, okay, are we doing this? Are we going from A to B to C? Then it can work, because we've seen, television shows have a bunch of writers. Episodes will have different writers, but they can all mesh together just fine.
Just like any relationship, you need communication.
Yeah, and
it didn't feel like they had a lot of that here. But I think
I said this in the Kyoryuger review, and I stand by it. I think for as many faults as I have with it, I think surface level, I think there is fun to be had. That Kyoryuger does have pretty lights, and it has lots of explosions, and it has lots of,
It also still has one of my favorite moments in like any Sentai show ever.
And it has
somebody with common sense.
And it has dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs! The common sense line, I use that so often.
Oh, I forgot about that line. That's just fucking
the baby.
We saw you flip, right?
But yeah, this show is just... I can't. 0 out of 10. I hated it so much. I hated it. I watched this show in a day and a half, and I kept wanting to stab myself to get away from something other kind.
And I know there are plenty of people out there who like this show.
Fives of you. Fives and fives of you.
I haven't seen any discourse around this show as far as positive. As far as positive or negative, I haven't. As far as like our comments specifically, which is where I get most of it.
Valid. I'm on Twitter and I follow Margazatsu, and I think Margazatsu likes this show a lot.
He does.
Each their own.
To each their own. So, and I think.
And again, I will reiterate this because it bears repeating.
Subjective.
Everything that I have said is not an attack against anyone who likes this show. Not you, not anyone.
It is, however, an attack against the writer.
Yes, I have. Yes,
fair.
Yes, I was very loud today. Yes, I had a lot I wanted to get off my chest, and I'm sorry if I yelled at you all. But again, it's all art is subjective. If you like the show,
more power to you.
More power to you. Just like what you like. It's none of my business, concern, or ire directed at anyone if you like something or dislike something.
Yeah, from the moment I was watching this show, and I know you never finished it because I think you dropped it.
I dropped it hard.
Yeah, you dropped it, and you always wait until the review comes up to watch the show.
Yeah, that's just me with everything.
I was watching it just because I wanted to watch it. I looked at this and went, oh, they're going to hate this. This is going to be fun.
It was, like I said on our last review, it's going to be such a roller coaster because we loved Zenkai. And then we come to this. We all like Zenkai. And here we are.
Kamen Rider needs to step its game up.
We got Revice.
Revice is doing
which I haven't been watching, but
no, Revice is doing pretty well.
I'm talking about from my personal perspective.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider really needs to step its game up.
From multiple of issues stemming from COVID. I know COVID had to play something into this.
Oh, absolutely. COVID had to have some kind of... Oh, shit.
Yeah,
COVID had since X-Aid, I don't think we've even come close to reaching
that high. What
X-Aid was able to do. Because after X-Aid, it was Build, then 0-1.
No, there was
Zeo, then
0-1.
Then 0-1, and then
which
this.
I like still. Revice seems to have found
for me, it's 4 in a row that have missed the mark, so...
Revice is...
Step your game up, Kamen Rider. You got to step it up.
They kind of have. So
I will be the judge of that when we review.
At least
Revice.
we got Zenkai. You got 2 in a row.
What's the thing? Because Zenkaiger, I really liked. Kira Major, I flat out loved. So, yeah, There's that.
Oh, right. Next week is our first impressions.
Not next week, though, because I thought you said you were...
This is the week after I'll be out of town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But next week is our first impressions.
First impressions of Dawn Brothers.
Dawn Brothers.
And since we're coming to the end of the video, I do have an announcement to make. We are caught up pretty much with Kamen Rider and Sentai, so I will kind of be taking a sabbatical from Tokucast. I have some personal things I need to really focus on, like my health and, you know, my future with my family, and I will still be in videos, just not as much. The last 6 years...
At this point.
Yeah. Have definitely been so goddamn memorable.
He will be here for one more.
I will be here for the Dawn Brothers thing.
And,
I'll be here for some major reviews, primarily.
Yeah. Our, next... I'll just go ahead and mention it now. Our next review won't be out until the 13th, because I'll be out of town 2 weeks in a row. Will be Tengo Kaiser and O's 10 years after.
There are 2 10s and 1.
Yeah.
A 10-10, if you will.
Tens across the board.
So two of my favorite Toku got 10-year movies, and Marcus had reactions because he's seen them both.
But as always, let us know what you think about Kamen Rider Saber in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't, hit that like button, and follow us on all the things.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.